Hello everybody, it's Peter with an I, S-T-A-W-A-R-T. Welcome to segment 29 of, I don't know, the Dark Tower, I guess?
Through his teeth. It was evident that Frank had screwed up, but that response is what a person would use for lesser mistakes. The proper response to a situation like this might be, "You'll never take me alive!" Or, "If my demands aren't met, I'll do it again!" Not an embarrassed shake of the head and a flagrant wave of the hand. "You killed him?" asked Joe. "You make it sound worse than it actually is," argued Frank. Nancy huffed. The last 6 months had really put all three of them into a spot. She had gotten fat and lost all her teeth. And in a few hours she would find that the condemned house the supercomputer was in completely collapsed just after she had gone, crushing everything inside. Everything Joe believed in turned out to be a sham, and his reason for existence turned into a petty falsehood. And Frank, of course, killed a guy. The act of murder is a little more significant than putting a few pounds on, but then again, it depends on who you talk to. The three stood there in the yard. They had been put back quite a ways, and had suffered about as much bad luck as any self-disrespecting masochist could hope for. But at least they had the house. "Did I mention that the house is haunted?" asked Frank. This was such a greatly significant detail that Joe had to giggle. Nancy had to giggle too. Hauntings are the worst. The fact that the house was haunted was nice. Real nice.
Part 2 of, I don't know, the Dark Tower, I guess?
Chapter 27. Since it's been 12.5 this past fiscal year, the dentist stopped reading and looked over his bifocals in response to a sound. The partners, who were partners simply because their combined ownership of just over half the stock in the clinic made them partners, sat there looking innocently. The dentist concluded that maybe the interruption was just a burp, or perhaps the mechanics at one of the chairs they were sitting in, and continued reading at the top of the printed info. And so, since it's been between 12.5 million, there it was again, a turkey gobble. And so, since it's been 12.5 million in this past year, the points in the next fiscal year, and again, another turkey gobble. The dentist fought for concentration. Are expected to have an estimated gain or loss ratio. Turkey gobble, 2 of them! The partners couldn't be fired, but the dentist wished that at least they could be silent partners. He gave them a hard stare to demand silence. "Please, continue what you were saying, doctor," said the one with a German accent and a quarter pinched over his eye, making him look like Colonel Klink. The dentist drew in an irritated breath. "If you don't mind, I'd like to just get through this. I have patients to see this afternoon," he said soberly. The partner with the quarter covering his eye sucked in his chin and continued with a wacky accent. "Well, it appears to me you don't have any patients at all." He snapped a pencil in two, eliciting a laugh from the other partner. The dentist threw down his papers and started to get up. "Fine, listen, I'll just fax this stuff to you," he said, absolutely fed up. Okay, we'll settle down," they agreed. He was so frustrated from the chore of going through the reports that his throat started to hurt. He wanted to walk out, but he couldn't. He needed to get that meeting done and over with, or suffer harsh consequence. He cleared his mind and continued. And so, in the past year, it's been 12.5 million in the past year. The dentist hesitated for a moment, and the humming sound ceased. So now it was a humming sound. The dentist continued regardless, talking over it. In the past year, we've expected to have a gain or loss ratio of 10 to 30%. As the volume of the humming increased, so did the dentist. In response to the gain, we should either grow or save, stockpiling our gains. The dentist was now shouting out the words as the partners had to arch their backs to hum as loud as humanly possible. Response to a loss: shut up, shut up, shut your mouths! He screamed. Shut your mouths! The secretary and the patient he had scheduled for 11:45 stood in the doorway without moving, speechless at the sight. One of the partners grunted indignantly. "I know I don't have the nicest looking smile, but you don't have to be rude about it," he wisecracked. It was impossible for them to keep from chortling. "It's 11:45, and, Mrs. Jensen is ready to see you," said the secretary. Miss Jensen wondered if it was too late to reschedule, with the dentist who wasn't fuming with anger. The dentist stormed out of his office to wash up. "Gosh," said one of the partners in Miss Jensen's earshot. "When I came in last week, it was just for a routine checkup, but the dentist started to give me a root canal." The partners tried not to laugh. "When I started to speak up and say I didn't need a root canal, he gave me 2. "Miss Jensen," said the dentist when he returned, wiping his hands dry, "come on into the next room and have a seat." Miss Jensen was reluctant to go and looked back at the partners for support. One of them opened a plastic bottle of aspirin, shook a tablet into his hand, and offered her a way out. "Cyanide?" Chapter 28. As Nancy sat reading a magazine along with the other 5 applicants, she was brooding about having her time wasted and feared she might not get the job after all. The other applicants looked pretty smart. One of them even had a pencil through her bun, which made her look tenfold more professional than poor Nancy. Nancy wanted to take that pencil and stick it through her other bun. Nancy wished she could have thought about changing her first and second name so she could make the misleading abbreviation DR and claim that she had doctorates in both filing and clerkery. The dentist might not recognize her physical features, but he might recognize the name on her application, so she picked out a pseudonym, Jessica. Jessica sounded nice. Jessica was one of the bald ladies in Dune. The dentist strode around the corner and looked through the wall of files lined with multicolored tabs and through the yet-to-be-filed papers resting in stacks on the floor. Jessica, a.k.a. Nancy, had been there for almost an hour waiting for her appointment and had become extremely frustrated, but now, with her goal in sight, her spirit was renewed. She tried to keep her anxiety in check, but the embarrassment of being recognized would be excruciating. It struck her how sketchy her idea of trying to fool the dentist really was. She had turned her fat into bulky muscle, dyed her hair, and got fitted with dentures, but that in no way guaranteed she wouldn't be instantly recognized. The dentist rubbed his temples. He was already stressed out from the endless meeting with his financial partners, and now he was made to suffer through the agony of having to sort through the jumble of vanilla-colored files and papers on the floor.